Hi one and all, Old School Gamer 1971 here with a roundup of this week's news. If you would, please like, comment, share and subscribe as it helps the channel grow and keeps me happy. So we start with Dauntless was announced last week for consoles. It was announced at the Game Awards. Dauntless is a kind of Monster Hunter world in many ways. It also borrowed from Diablo and Dark Souls. Its origin is on PC and it's coming to all current gen consoles. They are hoping for crossplay between platforms. It is set in a post-apocalyptic world. It is looking like it's going to be free to play, with in-game purchases of temporary boosts and cosmetics. Originally they was looking to put loot boxes into the game. Boo! After playtesting however, they instead decided to be more upfront. Yay! Opting for an item store. This game is being developed by Phoenix Labs, and whilst I don't think it has the polish of Monster Hunter World, it has enough interest in that I for one will give it a go when it releases come April 2019. Norman Reedus speaks. Norman Reedus was on the Dan Fogler podcast. When asked about Death Stranding and when did Norman believe it will be released, he responded with, I think it's going to be early this coming year, 2019. I have 3 more motion capture sessions here in New York starting next week. Dan also asked what the hell the game was about. Reedus responded, it's not the kind of game where you kill everything in the room. It's a game about bringing people together. Apparently the main character starts off where he doesn't like to be touched. So my thoughts on this. I do think first quarter or just after for release date. Here is why. I think depending on sales, Kojima could decide to join Sony on a more permanent basis. After the bad experience with Konami, Sony seemed to not worry so much about release dates as getting the game finished to a polished state. Look at God of War, after all, it was postponed. With it using the same game engine as Horizon Zero Dawn, the Decima engine, it was also used for Until Dawn and Rush of Blood for the VR. It was originally used, however, for Killzone Shadowfall. I do urge you to go and look at the podcast, as it is only really breezed over here. And that brings us nicely on to Monster Hunter World DLC. Capcom held a special Monster Hunter World live stream earlier this week, after announcing there will be some exciting news for Monster Hunter World fans at the recent Game Awards, and boy were they not kidding. With the free trial hitting the PlayStation Store this week, no excuse not to try it now. You can play the first 4 levels and that save will carry over to the main game if you buy the main game. The first big announcement is there is to be a DLC called Iceborne. It's a large DLC and will take place directly after the main game. It will be available as an expansion and packaged with the main game at a later date. The second big announcement is Geralt is going to be a playable character in Monster Hunter World. This will be coming in early 2019. It's nice to see a crossover between Monster Hunter and Witcher 3. He also has his own special moves as well, which is kinda cool. Also, Korv Taroth will be returning as a limited time arch-tempered enemy. He has had an overall, so he will be tough to fight for those looking for a challenge. This will be available from the 19th of December till the 12th of January. And finally, Nergigante, the cover monster on the game, will become available to fight as an arch-tempered monster. They also said they will release more information in the forthcoming months about all the DLC mentioned here. And so on to the 25th anniversary of Doom. In celebration of Doom's 25th anniversary, Bethesda are releasing a selection of new levels for the original Doom called Sigil. It's the work of John Romero, co-creator of Doom. It has been 2 years in development and has been created using Doom Builder 2, a fan-made modding tool used to make levels for the original game. This doesn't happen every day where the creator of a game returns to the franchise. It will be released in February 2019. As well, a video celebrating the evolution of the franchise through the years has also been posted online. And that later next year there will be some news on Doom Eternal. I personally first played a demo of Doom on PC, but my favourite memories of that game come from the PlayStation 1 version with a link cable. 2 TVs, 2 consoles, 2 copies of the game sat in Mark Topless's living room till the AM. It was a race to the weapons, learning spawn points for player and weapon alike. From the rocket launcher on level 1, it was a race there and then getting as many kills as possible before the second player made it to the exit, unless you could score a door kill, where you lure your opponent towards you, is shooting rockets at you, and then at the last second you shut the door and they kill themselves with a rocket. This is a hectic game and would love to get a go on those new levels. Now I know there was split screen on Final Doom for PlayStation 1, but can't really hide or find secrets when your opponent can see your screen. Oh, and Doom VFR is a fun game once you get used to the controls. And finally on to single player promise. Some people sure do forget quick and or ignore. Around 2 years ago, EA and Microsoft were sprouting about single player being dead. The multiplayer games would outsell the single player games, that Sony's single player focus was misguided. They stated this at the E3 conference. After the amazing years Sony has had with its exclusives, God of War and Spider-Man, during a recent interview, Warwick Light, the European marketing director, said that fans demand single player narratives. I'm one of those demanding souls. Sony will fulfill the promise that single player is still a main focus on the PlayStation 4 and beyond, which obviously means PlayStation 5. However, Shuya Yoshida has admitted that it is an area, multiplayer, where Sony could do better. With projects like PlayLink, they are looking down many different avenues, not just the traditional multiplayer experience. Microsoft have also changed their tune, which is why they purchased the studios, as the ones they had were more multiplayer orientated. I believe they need to coexist, both single player and multiplayer, that you need to have both to have a successful console. However, not everything needs a single player, nor does everything need a multiplayer. In the end, sales speak for themselves. Companies need to start listening to their customers. EA, Activision, Bethesda all come to mind, or they may see the game sales of their big franchises plummet. I prefer single player experience, so for them to affirm this pleases me greatly. In a year with no PlayStation experience and no E3 next year, it could be a whole year from now before we get any announcements. However, I am calling the summer for the new PlayStation experience. Maybe a tour? So thanks one and all. Hope you all have a good day. Bye Millie, bye Lloyd, bye one and all. Old School Gamer 1971 signing off.